Hello everybody. I convinced myself that I must make a video about my own true experience because I like it that women must aware about ectopic pregnancy.
What is ectopic pregnancy? I will try to explain about ectopic pregnancy as, like my doctor, gynecologist, had let me understand about it. The sketch you see on the screen shows a woman's reproductive anatomy. First, I will tell what happened that day. As I remember, I am 24 years old, that is in the year 1970. I am married and already have 2 children, a girl of about 2 years old and a boy of 8 months old, when this near-death experience happened. I am a working mother, and people ask me how I managed to have 2 young children at the same time working. Well, I have my sister as my nanny, and I just work part-time. I will not elaborate my situation as a working mother and a wife because what I am eager to talk about is what happened or my experience with my 3rd pregnancy, which I was not aware of. I say not aware of because I have my monthly period and do not have the morning sickness as I'd experienced with my 2 previous pregnancies. That fateful day, I am feeling not good. I didn't know what I am feeling. It's just I am very uneasy and like my whole body was aching. So I decided to go to bed early. Before going to bed, it's my habit to brush my hair. And I always did it in front of the big mirror in the living room. My husband always commented why I am doing it, the brushing of my hair in the living room, but I just ignored him always. That evening we had visitors, just our neighbors Albert and Rose, who came to personally invite us for the party the next day on their house, their son's birthday. But because I am not feeling well, I'd excused myself, but then before I went to bed as usual, I'd brush my hair in the living room, front of our neighbor visitor. While I am brushing my hair, suddenly the big mirror in front of me broke. It exploded into many little pieces.
What happened?
I don't know.
Did you hurt yourself?
I did not hurt myself, not even a single scratch on my body. I even did not touch the mirror. And it was a big puzzle to me. Why? So suddenly it just exploded into many little pieces.
My God, it's a premonition.
Premonition? What do you mean?
Yes, what happened to that mirror is a premonition.
Come on, Rose. You always believe there's something behind everything.
You all must believe me that breaking of that mirror foretells something to happen. It's a belief of our grandparents. Something really will happen. I am not joking.
Something to happen. I ignored what Rose said, and maybe so my husband and Albert, the husband of Rose. When I went inside the bedroom, they were still conversing in the living room, and I quickly fall asleep. I did not know how long I slept. Not so long, I guess, because I was awakened with the urge to go to the toilet, and I still heard them 3 talking to each other. After urinating, I cannot stand up because of terrible pain in my abdomen. It was the first time I have such pain. So I called for help. I called the name of my husband few times before he heard me. He came into our room and he found me inside the toilet holding my abdomen and agonizing with pain.
What happened?
I cannot stand. It's very painful.
You are very pale. And what happened to your body? Like you are pregnant.
What happened?
She's in terrible pain, and she's very pale, and she's sweating cold.
Did I see it right? Her belly is very big. How come? She was not pregnant.
With their commotion, I felt I am going to die. I am sweating cold. And it seemed that my belly would explode. It became so big that like I am 9 months pregnant. Please, bring me to the hospital.
I was brought to the nearest hospital. I am deliriously screaming in pain. In the emergency room, the doctor examined me at the same time asking questions, what happened and if I am pregnant? And I answered that I don't know what happened and I am not pregnant. Few examinations were done, and later the doctor told my husband that they are calling a surgeon, gynecologist. I must be operated as soon as possible. Entering the operating room, I cannot breathe anymore, and I asked for oxygen, and they gave it me. I am really dying because I saw no people around me, but only voices. I cannot move my body, but luckily for me, I could still hear and talk. I even could not open my eyes anymore.
Hello, I am Dr. Hardiolan. I am the surgeon. Blood pressure, please.
40/20, doctor.
Impossible. Let me do it. My God. Scalpel. Scalpel. Hurry. Hurry.
Dr. Hardiolan did not wait the anesthesia to work. She sliced my abdomen. She asked for a second scalpel and the second slice to my abdomen. The doctor was in a hurry. Then the third time, and I felt that I am swirling from above. In my mind, I talked to God. God, I am now at your mercy. My life is in your hand. That were the last words I said.
After 3 days, I wake up in the ward. Yes, I was in coma for 3 days. The first I saw was a nurse controlling the flow of dextrose and a bottle of blood attached in my arms.
Oh, you wake up? You've been sleeping for 3 days.
The nurse said to me that I slept for 3 days. I noticed that I have a kind of jacket and I cannot move.
You are constantly convulsing. And Dr. Hardiolan instructed us to wrap you.
I learned that after the operation. I have convulsions that everybody thought I am going to die. It occurred almost every hour, and Dr. Hardiolan stayed to watch me for 24 hours. Later, Dr. Hardiolan visited me. She shook my hand.
Congratulations to your second life. You had made me afraid 3 days ago, but I am glad you made it.
Dr. Hardiolan asked me to step out of my bed to stand, and I did. She instructed the nurse to help me to walk on the alley. I protested that I cannot do it, but she insisted, so I did it with the nurse helping that I may not fall. For almost a month, I stayed in the hospital. Before I went home, Dr. Hardiolan explained what really happened to me. She said that my case was ectopic pregnancy. Ectopic pregnancy means a pregnancy that is outside the womb. In my case, the fetus had nestled and developed in the fallopian tube. But because the fallopian tube is not elastic, it began to burst, and a massive bleeding inside me occurred. According to Dr. Hardiolan, I am very lucky. Half an hour late with the operation, I had not survived, and that the bleeding did not scatter in my body but streamed via the fallopian tube into my uterus. That's why my uterus ballooned, because in the vagina canal the blood clotted and it did not flow outside my body. My uterus has already a crack. If I was not operated within half an hour, will explode as the bleeding continued. For 5 years, I must not be pregnant, or I eventually would die if it happened, and Dr. Hardiolan told me that, to be sure for my safety, she did something so that I will not be pregnant anymore. My 2 ovaries are intact, and so my uterus and 1 fallopian tube. I may have my menstruation or nothing at all. For the rest of my life, I must take the pill Premarin. What happened that day? The mirror that exploded into many pieces in front of me, and my near death because of ectopic pregnancy, I really did believe I was warned by unknown forces that something wrong will happen. I had ignored it because I was not a believer of superstition thing, but now if something out of the ordinary occurred, I am very aware that I must, and everyone must listen. Coincidence? It could be, but it's up to someone's perception. My experience about this ectopic pregnancy, I hope, would let women to understand that this also could happen to them. Danger. is just around the corner, and I wish every woman to be lucky enough to also have an angel nearby. Dr. Hargelin was my angel, not only her, but the many people that helped me. The doctors in the emergency room was quickly and accurate in the diagnose. And I am indeed very lucky she was around when danger tried to take away my life. Most of all, I am thankful to God. The white square with a green star, that's where the fetos developed. In a normal pregnancy, the fetos must be in the uterus. See the green square in the sketch. I am more than 3 months pregnant without knowing it, as I told that I still had my monthly period. The fallopian is not elastic, that's why it burst. The hospital gave to me the fetos concerned in a bottle, and I saw that the fallopian tube was surrounded with white that I thought was fat, but isn't. My antibodies was working hard to wrap the wounded fallopian tube. That's why the bleeding did not scatter in my body, but flowed inside the fallopian into the uterus. Reason that my uterus ballooned, and 30 minutes late, I could not be helped anymore because the uterus will also burst and will follow the blood poisoning. I never could forget that episode of my life. Since then, I never have again my monthly period. The medicine Premarin that the doctor said must be taken for life, I'd stopped taking it since 1980. That exploding mirror was indeed a premonition. Sometimes it's hard to understand things, a mystery. So, as life itself,